You are Locked On Pistons Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Brutal. I've got no other word that comes to mind. Welcome into a live Locked On Pistons Postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. The Detroit Pistons fall to the New York Knicks in Game 4 of the opening round. 90, or oh my goodness, my brain's all over the place. 94-60, 94-93, and just a brutal way for that game to end. We're going to talk about it on a live Locked On Pistons postcast, though. Brutal no call at the end. Tough first half for the Pistons. They put themselves in such a big hole, climbed right out of it, and then we're in position in the fourth quarter, and it just slipped away. I'll have my talking point, turning point, player of the game. It's all next on a live Locked On Pistons postcast. But as always, the comment box is open. I want to hear your reaction as well. So get in on the action, and let's do this. Your home for the Detroit Pistons post-game reaction is Locked On Sports Detroit, free and available wherever you get your podcast, and of course on YouTube as well. So buckle up, dial it in, and my goodness, if you're in shock like I am, let me hear it, because the entire fourth quarter, I'm watching this game thinking the Pistons have got this, no problem. Jalen Brunson goes out with the injury, and credit to him, as much as I can't stand Jalen Brunson, boy, did he get buckets, and so did Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, Cat with the 8 points in the final 2 minutes with just incredible shots as well. Jalen Duren played his best defense as he could on him, but the fadeaway shot from out of bounds, just incredibly impressive, followed by the three-pointer. That was a huge turning point. There are a lot of huge turning points, and none bigger than the final possession where the Knicks prevail. Cade got a good look. Cade got a really good look at it off the dribble. That mid-range that he hits 9 times out of 10, it just did not fall. And then you've got a chance with the putback on the Tim Hardaway Jr. three-pointer where Josh Hart clearly fouled him. That's listen, I'm going to start this show by saying two things can be true. And these are the two things I believe that are true from the immediate instant reaction in this one. The Pistons did not play their best. It should not have come down to that final possession, but it did. And the second part that is true is the officials absolutely missed a call on that final shot from Tim Hardaway Jr. He was unequivocally fouled and impeded. His shot was impeded by contact from Josh Hart, and therefore it is a foul. It's as simple as that. He should have been at the line with an opportunity to win the game or at least force overtime, and none of that was afforded to the Pistons. Now, we're going to talk about all of this, and you know what? I'm going to forget to hit some of the sounders that we got to hit and whatnot, so I'm going to do that right now. It's our Talking About segment.
This is what you'll be talking about.
That final possession in which Cade misses the shot initially, it's a loose ball scrum. It squirts out to Hardaway Jr. When he elevates for that triple attempt, he is impacted and fouled by Josh Hart, which impedes his ability to shoot the basketball, and therefore it's a foul. I don't know how much more clear it could be. It felt like the game sped up on the officiating crew. And as a result, once again, the Detroit Pistons are on the short end of the stick from the officiating crew and deserved better. Now, all of that said, and we're going to get your comments here because I want everybody to sound off on this. Maybe I'm alone in thinking that was unequivocally a foul, but I'm not here to say that's why the Pistons lost the game. It was a significant part. We don't know how this game ends if Tim Hardaway Jr. is at the line shooting three. But what we can also discuss is how poorly this team played in the opening half. You can't turn the ball over 100 times like they did and go 2 for 19 from the three to start a game and expect to win a lot of games. Now, I give them a lot of credit for their ability to come in and dig out of that hole. Absolutely. I mean, the resiliency, what this team can be with that third quarter, outscoring the Knicks by 2 touchdowns, 28-14. I mean, that is what this team can be. And that's what makes it equally as frustrating, in which they do not get it done. and it comes down to that. And you let the Knicks hang around in that fourth, and there's just too much firepower. They are so good in with Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, and Bridges even made some impressive threes from the corner. That's going to happen in a playoff game. And when you have a team down like that, you just got to go for the jugular. And there's little things that contribute to that. Tim Hardaway Jr. not laying the ball in the final horn of the third quarter. Now, Dennis Schroeder, I was getting into somebody with this on Twitter. Dennis Schroeder shouldn't have passed that ball because it's 2-0 with plenty of time to get a shot off as the clock's winding down, and you don't get a basket. You can't go for a dunk when the clock's winding down. I know Aaron Gordon had the putback dunk at the horn. I still don't think that should have counted, by the way, in that Clippers-Nuggets game, but that's neither here nor there. But to not get 2 points in the final the final horn of the third quarter was just egregious. You got to be able to get points there. There's just little things like that. And the empty trips, the turnovers. Cade turned the ball over way too many times. And in the end, it's a New York Knicks victory. But RJ says the Pistons got robbed. Soulman 2025. We get them at home. Then it be back at Pistons home. That becomes the approach. Got to win one game at a time, but you got to win 3 in a row as they are now officially on the brink of elimination. Brian Gilchrist says, how does the ref not make that call? I completely agree. And Demetrius McNeil checking in. Once upon a time, the Pistons were up by 11 and couldn't hold the lead. Instead of a series tied at 2 games apiece, it's one game. It's a 1-game season now. The Pistons finish in game 5. I don't think they're finished in game 5. It's a bummer, no Isaiah Stewart, because definitely could have used him with some of the rebounding shortcomings there tonight or this afternoon at LCA. But, you guys know the statistics. 91% of the time, a team goes up 3-1. They win that series. It might even be more than that, to be honest. But it's not good. It's not good. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. Brian Gilchrist saying it doesn't matter how poorly they played. The call was not made, and that could have been the outcome of the game. I would agree with Brian Gilchrist in that comment right there. It leaves a really, really bitter taste in your mouth because you just don't know how that game ends if it's officiated correctly. And you never want to put the game in the hands of the official. I think we can all agree on that. But at the same time, there's a responsibility of the officials to make the right calls in crunch time and to avoid that type of ending if you're officiating it correctly. And which, again, there's no doubt in my mind that Josh Hart made contact with Tim Hardaway Jr. when he was in the act of shooting, therefore altering the ball and physically impacting the shot. Thus, it's a foul. That's the only other way to explain it. But man, this one really, really hurts because, like I said, now it's a 3-1 lead, and the Pistons were right there. And they overcame the egregiously bad start with one of the best quarters of play you will see, with the third quarter overtaking of the New York Knicks, just overwhelming them to the tune of outscoring them 28-14. Tobias Harris was really good. He deserves a lot of credit. Led the Pistons in scoring with 18 points. Cade finished with 25. My apologies there. But overall, you talk about just making winning plays down the stretch. And unfortunately, the Pistons just did not do that. Tim Hardaway Jr., 5 of 16 from the floor. Cade Cunningham with the 7 turnovers. Those are all things that contributed to this team not winning the basketball game. But most notably, and what has to be discussed, is the officials not calling the game correctly in the most pivotal moment. And that just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth, in your mouth, and everybody's mouth. And everybody that was at LCA just sounded electric. It looked like one of the best playoff atmospheres you could ever come up with. So if anybody was at the game, let me know in the comments, because, man, I was proud to be a Pistons fan. But at the same time, man, does this one hurt, because it was right there. It was just right there for the taking. And And the Knicks are going back to New York with a 3-1 series lead after winning both games in Detroit. All right, we'll take a quick break and wrap this one up. Don't go anywhere. It's live Locked On Pistons postcast. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Pistons postcast is brought to you by Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. You guessed it. It is, in fact, Prize Picks. All you do is pick more or less on a player's projected stat line, and voila, you watch the winning roll on in. Basketball, hockey, the playoffs are here, and baseball. Yeah, we got that going on as well. You can combine a number of different picks and watch the winnings roll on in. There's no better time to turn your sports knowledge into real cash than right now with Prize Picks, the top destination for daily fantasy action. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, you download the app and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. This episode of the Locked On Pistons postcast is also brought to you by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook is, in fact, FanDuel. Listen up, because right now, the NBA playoffs, they're here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, all you have to do is join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet. You'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love the FanDuel landing page. In fact, I get excited just thinking about it because it's so easy. FanDuel.com, whether you're picking your favorite team or diving into some player props, maybe some same-game parlays, it's all there for you. And I love how easy it is on FanDuel.com. So don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com. Claim your $250 in bonus bets. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. All right, the temperatures, body temperatures, heart rate, whatever it is, it's all coming down, starting to get a little less emotional and feel exactly what this game means. And it's been so long since the Pistons have won a home playoff game. And unfortunately, they've tied the NBA record for consecutive home playoff losses with 9, tying the Philadelphia 76ers. And it's so unfortunate because this Pistons team was so close, and you think that, my goodness, they're just, this was the night. I mean, this was the afternoon, whatever you want to call it. They were there, and the turnaround in the third quarter, you've got the fans on their feet. You've got, and no, I'm certainly, don't take it this way. Injuries are an unfortunate part of the game, but when Jalen Brunson goes out, you think that enhances your chances to win, and he comes back in again. And I gave him and Karl-Anthony Towns and Bridges and the entire Knicks team a lot of credit for winning 2 games on the road. So don't take it that way. I think credit where credit's due. But again, this was a game that I felt the Pistons deserved a better outcome in. And we can talk at length about the empty possessions and the turnovers. And even in that first half, just a lack of identity on offense. And without Cade in the game, I mean, maybe this isn't the right space for it. And a Locked On Pistons episode with Koo can take a deeper dive at this, but Ron Holland is just a liability on this team. I mean, you're playing 4-on-5 offensively when you've got Ron Holland on the floor. And he just, and again, that's one little outlier that I'm picking from this game. I don't think it's the big takeaway by any means, but just some more frustration that's boiling over after this loss to now with the Knicks leading 3-1. But all right, what do we got to do according to the bosses? We got to do a turning point segment. Here we go.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I mean, I'd call myself crazy if I didn't call the turning point the no call, because that's, I mean, by definition, that's where the game was won or lost. No call on Tim Hardaway Jr. rising up from the perimeter as the final horn sounds and just getting mauled by Josh Hart to the tune of a no call, allowing the Knicks to win. But other turning points, again, I give Karl-Anthony Towns a lot of credit, but the 8 points in 2 minutes, one of them a contested shot falling out of bounds over the backboard, another deep three had to be 30 feet at least. And I put a little on Jalen Duren not stepping up, knowing that Towns can hit those because it wasn't necessarily well contested. And then I also think that the lack of support given to the Detroit Pistons and all throughout this game, it just felt like they were on the short end in a multitude of ways, and it came to a head with the no call at the end. All right, our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Pains me to say, but Jalen Brunson, 32 points. And man, that even includes missing some time with the injuries. He had 11 assists. Gosh, he's a villain in Detroit for obvious reasons. He hunts the whistle. He's hard to watch. All of that can be true. And in my humble opinion, I don't love watching that style of basketball, and Knicks fans can tell me I'm crazy and I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, and that's fine, but I'll give Jalen Brunson this. He's a certified bucket getter and certified superstar in this league, and I'd love to have him on my team. But man, that is a tough pill to swallow. Karl-Anthony Towns really good as well. And I thought Cade got a lot of credit from the announcing staff because it was an ESPN broadcast, and he did. It deserves a lot of it. 28 points for Cade Cunningham, and I'm sorry, 25 points, but the 7 turnovers, he had the 10 assists. What he did in that third quarter was just incredibly impressive. And that's where you bottle up that tape from the third quarter and you look at it. That's what this Pistons team has to be. They absolutely have to be that type of team for 4 quarters, for 48 minutes, not for a fraction of the game and parts of the fourth quarter. But really overall, this team just had a C- style game. And that first half was about as bad as we've seen them. And they still had a shot to win this game, up 11 in the second half, and just unable to finish it out. But appreciate everybody tuning in, no matter how tough it is being a Pistons fan. And I see the comment from Super Bowl Vaughn. At least we had the Tigers. Yeah, I'm about to hop over to Locked On Tigers for the post-game show there. They beat the Orioles 7-0, and it's a 3-game sweep. You absolutely love that. So we'll spread some positivity over on Locked On Tigers. So if you want to hop on that with me right after the conclusion of this one, I would appreciate it. But Pistons trail the New York Knicks 3-1 in the series now. A tough Game 4 loss. The Knicks take both games at LCA, and the Pistons now tie an NBA record for 9 consecutive home playoff losses. They got to get over that hump, but got to find a way to get it back to Detroit and somehow, some way get a win in Game 5 at Madison Square Garden. All right, one more from R1VJ4. Can't say anything bad except struggling scores in the fourth. Glad to make the playoffs and can't maintain the lead. Well, I don't know. I would disagree with that. I don't think there's when you get to the postseason, we're not talking moral victories. Hey, at least we got there. And I know they're ahead of schedule, and anybody that knows anything about this Pistons team would tell you, yeah, of course, they're the best turnaround in terms of win totals in NBA history is certainly going to accelerate a rebuild, and not even that, but make this a formidable postseason team. And that's what you're seeing now. You just want them to take that next step. And especially when you're on the brink of it and so close, that makes it hurt that much more. But Pistons lose this one. Final score, since I butchered that at the beginning of the episode and I was just all over the place, but 94-93, the final in this one. The Pistons fall and the Knicks lead the series 3-1. Make sure you join me for a Locked On Pistons postcast after Game 5 Tuesday night. Looking forward to that. And as always, thanks so much for logging in and subscribing, liking the video, all of that. It's been a good run. It's been a good run, but still one more game. And even though the percentages are not in the Pistons' favor, the odds being down 3-1, let's go give it everything we've got in Game 5 and try and get that series back to LCA for Game 6. All right, join me over on Locked On Tigers for a Locked On Tigers postcast. Thanks so much for tuning in here, and we'll see you next time on Locked On Sports Detroit.